Hey there, creepy peeps. I don't know why I decided to do that today, but we're rolling with it. Welcome to my channel if you're new here. God, if that was the first intro you ever saw, oh no. And welcome back if you're returning. It's time to go over everything I read in November, which was one thing. Before I get into this one book monthly recap, I want to thank my creepy patron peeps for supporting my channel. Thank you guys so much. If you want to find out the perks to being a creepy patron peep yourself, you can follow that link in the description. It's a good time to think about joining because we're going to be rolling out some new perks come 2021. So remember when I made those two TBR videos in October? Is 11 books ambitious enough for you in like the 2.5 months we have left of this year? I sure hope so.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
So, yeah. Technically speaking, I did read 2 books in November. I did read Lords of Chaos very quickly for Does This Offend You? Emma and I both talked about the book a little bit on the stream. I guess just really quick. I don't have it with me because I read it as an ebook and I listened to it. Super informative book if you saw Lords of Chaos and you were interested in the story on a deeper level. Like, this goes into details that you wouldn't even think about. Super informative and an interesting read if anyone's interested. Anyway, so the book I'm going to be talking about at length today is Baby Teeth by Zoe Stage. So Baby Teeth alternates between the point of view of Suzette and Hannah, a mother and daughter respectively. Suzette is struggling to raise her daughter well and homeschool her, but Hannah has increasingly violent plans to get rid of Suzette for good. So this is very akin to something like We Need to Talk About Kevin or The Omen, kind of in its own way, but it's got the same vibe. I really liked the alternating point of views in the book. I think hearing Hannah's like increasingly violent and angry inner dialogue made the book more tense and more scary considering she's a 7-year-old girl. As you might expect, there is a big nature versus nurture theme, which is always interesting and tragic when it comes to mental illness, especially as it manifests in a child. Like I said, Hannah is 7 years old in the present of the book. She also doesn't talk like out loud, so we just get her inner dialogue, and it's frightening to hear that when she doesn't really outwardly express what's going on in her mind. What I really like about the book is it doesn't actually give you a straight answer as to whether Hannah's upbringing had anything to do with her mental illness or if it was something like a lesion or some other like physical thing on her brain that caused it, or if it's a combination of both things. The book definitely drops hints, but you don't get much in the way of flashbacks, so you can really only judge by what's going on in the present of the story. For anyone interested in reading this book, if you look up reviews of this, it's pretty divisive. I read through a few of the like lower rating reviews, and it seems like most people had an issue with how dense the characters were, particularly Alex, Hannah's father. Hannah obviously manipulates him by being good and sweet and loving whenever he is home, but while he's at work for most of the day, she's obviously terrorizing her mother. But it does, I agree, take him an annoying amount of time to actually realize what's going on. Also, a lot of people had some problems with Hannah's point of view because the way she talks, I guess isn't like a 7-year-old. She is a 7-year-old with clear mental issues, so that could play a factor in it. But also, not that, I mean, that's a valid criticism of the book, you know, if that's how you read it. I just think I'm used to it at this point when it comes to adults writing from children's point of view, because I don't remember how my inner dialogue sounded when I was 7. I would think it would be hard to legitimately write as a 7-year-old as an adult person now, so I feel like no matter what, it's gonna sound a little more adult than any of us actually thought when we were like 7, 8, 9, whatever. So I think it balanced out the story a lot more that you had both points of view going on at the same time. Overall, I don't think this is a groundbreaking novel. I don't think it did anything that I haven't read or seen before. It also wasn't the worst thing I've ever read. I also partially listened to the audiobook for this one, so it gets an extra half star for the voice actor who did a phenomenal job. So normally this is the point where I read the reviews of the members of the Creepy Book Club on Goodreads. In case you didn't know, I didn't mention it at the beginning of the video. Oh my god. I have a Creepy Book Club. We're on Goodreads. The link is always in the description if you want to check it out. Everyone who, you know, participated in the discussion of this all wrote novels. I wrote some discussion questions that were in the back of the book, and everybody was good enough to answer them all. So it's just a little bit too long to read for a video. Like, this video would be like an hour and a half long if I read them all and reacted to them all on camera. So it's a 3 out of 5 from me. On Goodreads in general, it has a 3.64 out of 5. On Barnes & Noble and Amazon, it both has a 4.1 out of 5. So if you're still here, I'm going to quickly announce the books we're going to be reading for the first half of 2021. I like to have our books planned like a half year in advance. We do it in increments of 6 months because as this book club has gone on, I notice people tend to jump in and out, like when their lives get super busy and they can't read for a month or two, and then they suddenly find themselves having time to actually read a book. They kind of jump in and out, and I want to make that as easy as possible so you can see what's coming 2 months down the road when you know you're going to have more free time to read, and you can prepare for the book we're going to read instead of learning at the last second while we're reading and being behind. We also do like a combination of themed months, some just kind of like free spaces, if you will, where we just pick a book that we all want to read. And then I also pick a couple of the months. So for January, we picked a book that had been on our TBRs for ages, and that is The Ritual by Adam Neville, which is the book that inspired the Netflix movie, which was pretty divisive. So I think it'll be interesting to read the book. And I rarely read the book after I've seen the movie, but it's been a while, so I think I'll be okay. I picked February's book. It's Black History Month as well as Women in Horror Month, and luckily those two things absolutely coincide, especially when it comes to books. So we're going to be reading The Good House by Tananarive Due. In March, we're going to be reading The Devil All the Time, Donald Ray Pollock. Sorry, I just want to make sure I got his name right. Which there's also a movie for that. Luckily, I haven't seen the movie for that, which was just very serendipitous. So in April, we decided to pick a book that was a debut novel from a new author, and that is going to be The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson, which you may remember from one of my October TBRs, so I'm super, super excited to read this. In May, we're reading our first YA novel of this book club, I think, if I remember correctly. We didn't intentionally like set out to choose a YA novel. It just happened that this had the most votes. Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Caesar, who is a YouTuber, has a fantastic YouTube channel. I'll link it in the description if you want more book content. And then I also picked the book for the month of June. We're going to celebrate Pride Month with The Red Tree by Caitlin R. Kiernan. And just really quick, I know we're already in December, but I know some of you guys devour books like it's nobody's business. This one's a little bit thicker, but for December, we are currently reading Abandoned by Blake Crouch. All right. That's our wrap up for the day. Wow, it was so nice and short because I only talked about one book this time. Let me know what you've been reading in the comment section down below because I always need stuff to add to my TBR, even though it's ridiculous. I love you. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here. Become a Creepy Peep today. I post 2 new videos a week. Sometimes I'm able to get through my outro. I will see you Saturday with a new video. Until then, stay strange. Bye.